Howdy folks, Jabberiki here. I've never actually reviewed a kaiju movie for Puppet Panic before, which is quite surprising because, well, Japanese monster movies are a big part of live-action puppet cinema, and what better film to start off with than the original Godzilla from 1954. Godzilla is a Japanese horror drama about an American H-bomb test awakening a prehistoric creature named Godzilla, who starts rampaging through Japan. Is there any way that this beast can be stopped? The Godzilla franchise is often seen as campy fun, with rubber-suited monsters awkwardly brawling it out in wacky ways. But this 1954 movie, which launched the entire Godzilla legacy, is intensely somber, serious, and brooding. You see, this movie was inspired by real historical events, the first being something that happened not long before the movie was made, when a US H-bomb test explosion hit a nearby fishing boat called the Lucky Dragon No. 5. Which not only radioactively poisoned the fishermen, but also contaminated the fish they caught, a story that's reenacted in the movie's opening and kicks off the whole narrative. The second being the American nuclear bomb drops on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Director Ishiro Honda actually walked through the devastation left behind from the bomb attack in Hiroshima, and what he saw inspired his vision for the movie. Honda later said, "There was a feeling that the world was already coming to an end, ever since I felt this atomic fear would hang around our necks forever." Honda's visceral response to the Hiroshima attack certainly lingers throughout the movie, by showing how Japanese civilians cope during Godzilla's rampage. There are many shots in the film that capture wartime survival so realistically that you could easily mistake them for genuine footage. There's lots of atmospheric imagery depicting everyday Japanese people running towards shelter from oncoming danger. But there's also quiet scenes that explore this disturbing feeling that threat is imminent, or our characters could be attacked by Godzilla again at any moment. It's quite eerie to watch, and I can imagine that it must have been overwhelming for Japanese audiences at the time, because it hit so close to home. Interestingly though, some Japanese audiences actually resonated with Godzilla in this film, because they saw him as a victim of a nuclear attack, something that was very relatable for the people of Japan at the time. It's fascinating how audiences could see another side to a monster like Godzilla, showing that even scary creatures can be sympathized with. The film approaches the topic of war with very broad paint strokes, intricately dissecting the ethics of the subject with colourful detail, rather than black and white oversimplification. Throughout the movie, characters debate on the best way to defeat Godzilla, but also argue whether he should even be killed. The scientists in particular open up defenses for why slaying the beast may not be the best option. Dr. Yamane suggests that keeping him alive could help mankind study radiation effects in prehistoric life.
ゴジラを殺すことばかり考えて、なぜ物理衛生学の立場から研究しようとしないんだ。このまたとない機会を。
先生、僕は反対です。
尾形君、わしは気まぐれに言ってるんではないよ。あのゴジラは世界中の学者が誰一人として見ていない。日本だけに現れた貴重な研究手段。
While Dr. Serizawa has actually found a way to eliminate Godzilla using an oxygen destroyer, but also fears that introducing his invention would mean that corrupt people could abuse it and add a threat that equals the H-bomb, thus making things even worse.
人間というものは弱いもんだよ。一切の書類を焼いたとしても、俺の頭の中には残っている。俺が死なない限り、どんなことで再び使用する立場に追い込まれないと誰が断言できる。
But even though we can see where the scientists are coming from, it's hard to immediately side with them when we're seeing so much havoc and chaos on Godzilla's part. Like I said, we get to see both sides of the complex argument, which is remarkably mature. What helps these debates retain weight is the outstanding acting. Every performer treats the script with respect, not once giggling or looking embarrassed, because they know that this isn't your average blockbuster monster movie. It's a culturally important film with a profound message about the effects of nuclear war. I have to give extra credit to the legendary Takashi Shimura's Dr. Yamane, a brilliant actor best known for his groundbreaking performances in many Akira Kurosawa movies. Every time Shimori is on screen, he steals the camera spotlight with subtle facial expressions that indicate a million powerful emotions at once. I think it's all in his eyes. You can see so much character in them. Anyway, let's discuss the special effects by Eiji Tsuburaya, starting with Godzilla's rampages, which rely heavily on miniature sets. Now, while I can see some charm to the handcrafted model buildings and respect the impeccable attention to detail in the city's destruction, I will admit that the cheesiness of the effects do take away the film's somber realistic tone. It's hard to appreciate the film's haunting atmosphere when some shots look distractingly like children's toy playsets. Yeah, it's cute and all, but it's not exactly suitable for this kind of Godzilla film, one that's trying to serve as a serious analogy for nuclear politics and wartime horrors. Godzilla himself is a towering beast. Sure, you can tell it's a man in a rubber suit, especially in close-ups and daylight sequences, but Eiji went out of his way to compensate for the cheapness. Godzilla's scenes were filmed in double speed then slowed down to help create a stomping motion. Plus, there are also a few shots that look quite striking, because dark lighting, quick editing, or distant framing help hide the rubber suit aesthetics. The music and sound support Godzilla in the film too, with a marching ominous orchestral score to play next to Godzilla's attacks and a leather glove scraping against a contrabass for Godzilla's roar. These are really creative noises and tracks that not only add cinematic gravitas to Godzilla, but also make Godzilla a very intimidating screen presence, despite the rubbery nature of the puppet. Actor Haro Nakajima also plays a part by piloting the Godzilla bodysuit puppet in a very animalistic way. He apparently went to Tokyo Zoo and observantly studied heavy-set animals like elephants, bears, and gorillas to help Godzilla's movement seem alive. You can really see the work he put into Godzilla's performance. Yeah, the way it was filmed helped, but Nakajima still deserves credit, especially considering how exhausting and sweaty it was to be inside Godzilla's suit. Godzilla's head was puppeteered by one of the suit builders, Eizo Kaimai, and I'll admit that it looks noticeably robotic in motion. While Godzilla's tail was wire-operated from above, I think it's got much more fluid animation compared to the head. Originally, Godzilla was going to be achieved through stop-motion animation, after the filmmakers felt inspired by the works of Ray Harryhausen and Willis O'Brien, but it turned out that it'd be too expensive and time-consuming. You know what though? I'm glad that they chose to go with bodysuit puppetry, also known as suitmation, because it gives the film a unique special effects identity. There's nothing quite like it, and it's a technique that's special to the Godzilla franchise. To conclude, the original Godzilla is a hauntingly powerful film about the dangers of nuclear threat, but also the complicated paradox of ending violence without creating more violence. It's more than your typical monster movie. It's poignant, profound, and important. Sure, the effects can look a little cheesy at times, but the filmmakers do go out of their way to cover up the flaws, and there is a charm to the technical achievements. I've been Jamboree, and I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, then please consider supporting me on my Patreon. It would be really appreciated if you could make a pledge. Thank you. Now, this episode marks the end of Season 3 for Puppet Panic, but what am I going to be reviewing when I return in Season 4? Well, I've had a lot of requests for this one, and it has been kind of a while since I've done a Muppet movie, so let's give it a go. Cheerio, folks.